Good evening, I am Lincoln Wambogo. Our sign language interpreter is Teresia Washira. This is Switch TV News at 7, and these are the headlines.
State House institutes portfolio reassignments in the cabinet and in the ranks of principal secretaries. President Kenyatta approves the recommendations of the power purchase agreements, which will cut power costs by over 33% within the next 4 months. New Harambee Stars head coach Engin Firat names a 34-man professional squad for the upcoming 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Mali next month.
Glad you're watching. With 30 minutes of the broadcast begins now. Eugene Wamalwa has been moved to the Ministry of Defense, replacing Monica Jimmy, who has been transferred to the Ministry of Energy in the latest cabinet reshuffle by President Uhuru Kenyatta that has also seen some ministries restructured and some of the functions transferred, as David Kagina reports.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has today instituted portfolio reassignments in his cabinet and in the ranks of principal secretaries. Among the outstanding changes is the transfer of Ambassador Monica Juma from the Ministry of Defense to the Ministry of Energy, with Eugene Wamalwa stepping in as the Cabinet Secretary for Defense.
Cabinet Secretary Honorable Charles Keter moves and becomes the Cabinet Secretary of the Ministry of Devolution.
Professor Margaret Kobia retains her position with new portfolio responsibilities that has seen her ministry renamed from the Ministry of Public Service to the Ministry of Public Service, Gender, Senior Citizens Affairs and Special Programs.
The State Department for Arid and Semi-Arid Land has now been transferred to the Ministry of Public Service and Gender. 2. The State Department of Social Protection, Pensions and Senior Citizens has been transferred to the Ministry of Public Service and Gender.
Other ministry reorganizations and transfer of functions include the transfer of Department of Special Programs to the State Department for Social Protection, Pensions and Senior Citizens Affairs and renamed to the State Department for Social Protection, Senior Citizens Affairs and Special Programs.
The Ministry of Devolution and the ASOLs, that is the Arid and Semi-Arid Land, is hereby reconstituted and renamed as the Ministry of Devolution.
The Ministry of Labour and Social Protection has also been reconstituted and renamed as the Ministry of Labour. For the Principal Secretaries, Major General Gordon Kihalangwa has been moved to the State Department for Energy. Dr. Joseph Kenjoroge is now the PS in the State Department for Transport. Solomon Kitungu is now in the State Department for Public Works, with Nelson Marwa Suspita moving to the State Department for Social Protection, Senior Citizens Affairs and Special Programs. David Kagina, Switch TV.
Share your thoughts on that cabinet reshuffle through our SMS line 111 at Switch TV Kenya and at Lincoln Wambogo on all social media handles. Thank you, David Kagina, for opening the reports for us. President Uhuru Kenyatta has approved recommendations of the power purchase agreements, which will cut power costs by over 33% within the next 4 months. The president's announcement on power cost comes after he received a report from a task force that has been reviewing power purchase agreements between Kenya Power and independent power producers. For instance, a consumer spending 500 shillings per month on electricity will pay 330 shillings, saving 170 shillings effective December 31st, 2021. Elsewhere, Deputy President William Ruto has defended his political approach, saying it's not a war between classes but that of ideology. The Deputy President and his allies who were today in Nyeri County have dismissed the endorsement of Raila Odinga by the Mount Kenya Foundation, saying the negotiations only involve the rich and not the people of Mount Kenya region. Our very own Shilling Atich reports.
Really A day after ODM party leader Raila Odinga received a major boost to his State House journey after meeting with a section of Mount Kenya business moguls under the banner Mount Kenya Foundation, who promised to back his quest, the Hustler Brigade, led by Deputy President William Ruto, have dismissed the endorsement.
Fanya mkutano na wale wenye mali ili serikali ichunge mali yao, hiyo ni kitu mzuri. Lakini pia tukifanya mkutano na wale wako chini ili serikali wasaidie kutengeneza mali, pia tukubali, hiyo ni kitu mzuri.
It is good to unite the region, but I want to ask them very categorically and respectfully. When our people were being chased away at night when it was raining in Kariobangi and Ruai, where was Mount Kenya Foundation?
With the general elections drawing closer by the day, Ruto allies now have a list of demands to Raila Odinga.
Tungetaka kuomba hao mabilionea walikutana jana. Nimesikia watakutana na huyu mtu ya kitawili baada ya miezi 2. Tunataka watusaidie kwa sababu hao watamfikia. Waulize mtu ya kitendawili atuhakikishie kabisa, hata kama ataandika, ya kwamba tukipiga uchaguzi akishindwa na William Ruto atakubali.
The high cost of living being witnessed in the country has also been blamed on the handshake by some of the leaders.
Bei ya essential commodities kama petrol ikashutu juu. Bereni hakukuwa na hiyo shida. Basi nyinyi wananchi wa Central, kama Raila anatufanyia hii mashida akiwa tu ameingiza mguu tu moja ndani ya serikali na kikaria yote.
The leaders at the final ceremony of Richard Kaguche Gishohi, Father to Nyeri Speaker John Kaguche at Kiu Mukurweini, Nyeri County.
Fathers kutoka kanisa la Catholic.
Away from politics, the Ministry of Health launching a COVID-19 mobile vaccination drive that targets to have 10 million vaccinations the next 3 months has highlighted against the inequality in access of vaccines, especially within the African continent. This comes as the country records 404 positive cases, 3 deaths and 231 recoveries. Harriet Chimer with more details.
Vaccination services have now been brought closer to communities in need as vehicles will now drive from location to location. Speaking during the first mobile vaccination drive in Kiambu County, CS Mutahi Kagwe appealed to the world community to stop vaccine appetite, adding it is unnecessary to vaccinate children while adults are in dire need of vaccinations.
The world deposited money to India so that India can supply the AstraZeneca vaccines across the globe. India has not met those obligations. Sisi ni marafiki, wewe unachanja watoto ambao ni kitu napoteza vaccine, na sisi tunakufa, and we are friends.
The CS has cautioned Kenyans and hoteliers to get vaccinated to prevent a 5th wave come the holiday season.
Mtu akiwa mlevi hasikii kama watu wanamsikia. Anakunywa pombe, unaona anakaribia paka sasa ako hapa kwa uso tu. So my friends, if you want to continue, I've got no problem with you enjoying a few Kagwe specials. Lakini tafadhali, can you be vaccinated and then we can have a deal?
As the government aims to vaccinate at least 5.8 million people by Mashujaa Day, the county vaccination drive, which is mobile and door-to-door, has begun in counties, with Kiambu aiming to vaccinate at least 580,000 people by Mashujaa Day. Reporting for Switch TV, my name is Harriet Chimer.
Thank you, Harriet Chimer. The NHIF bill proposed by Leader of Majority Amos Kimunye was passed yesterday, making it mandatory for every adult to remit 500 shillings to the National Hospital Insurance Fund. However, a section of Kenyans have decried the unaffordability of the mandatory 500 shillings, citing harsh economic times as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Maram Jahid, fast story.
Will as many as of that opinion say aye?
The 12th Parliament yesterday passed a bill on National Hospital Insurance Fund (NHIF) that compels every Kenyan above 18 years to register with NHIF by remitting 500 Kenyan shillings monthly. The NHIF Amendment Bill 2021 has required employers to submit equal contributions to the fund for their employees, and heavy penalties will be imposed if they fail.
We have not defined the contribution by a natural person. So it's like we are now creating things within the law that are not defined within the same law. It will just make it murky for.
This has ignited a lot of mixed reactions from Kenyans who feel there is need for the government to look at the affordability of the fund.
Serikali inatufinyilia kwa sababu kama sisi hatuna kazi na hiyo 500 hata shilingi 20 shilling per day hatuwezi pata kwa kweli, hata siku zingine tunalala njaa. Yeah.
Ni wale ambao hawana kazi ya kujikimu katika kimaisha, naomba kwamba serikali iweze kuwafikiria na iweze kuwalipia.
The Health Cabinet Minister Mutahi Kagwe has also asked Kenyans to embrace the bill as it is possible despite their cries it is expensive.
Ambia ulipe shilingi 20 kila siku wewe utakataa. 20 shillings ukiuza dizi si una 20 shillings.
As President Uhuru Kenyatta's term comes to an end in 2022, the legislators have raced to implement the much-hyped universal healthcare. However, stakeholders involved will have to anticipate potential challenges and put in place mitigation plans. Mariam Jahid, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Thank you, Mariam Jahid. Kenyans borrow 667,800 shillings every minute through Fuliza's service. According to the 2021 Business Sustainability Report by Safaricom, this represents a significant increase in the rate at which Kenyans borrowed through Fuliza's services as compared to the previous year amidst the tough economic times. Take a look.
According to the report by Safaricom, a total of 351 billion Kenyan shillings was disbursed to Kenyans through Fuliza service from 1st April 2020 to 31st March 2021. This means that an average of 667,800 shillings was borrowed every minute, an increase of 222,000 shillings compared to last year. Overall transactions stood at 787 million Kenyan shillings, doubling the transactions in 2020, which stood at 393 million shillings, a growth of almost 100% in profit. This comes amid continued increase in fuel and tax, which have seen the increase of the cost of interdependent products and services from one end to the other. COVID-19, on the other hand, has also seen a contraction in economic activities globally, with a hike on the cost of food. Faith Boit, Switch TV.
Director Simon is a big borrower. With that story, we now take a short commercial break. Stay tuned, we'll be back with more. Welcome back and thank you for keeping it Switch TV. Have you ever heard of the Bushman tribe in Southern Africa? Why are they called the Bushmen? On today's episode of Inside Botswana, our crew of Kebisi Molanda, Jidrif Mbogu and Calvin Agola visit Ukwi village at the border of Botswana and Namibia and bring you this mouth-watering story.
Hey, Kibisu. Kibisu. Yeah. Are you ready? Twende bwana, it's morning.
Never again. Once bitten, twice shy. You won't catch me off guard again.
Bro bana. Me I'm ready bwana.
Ushawasha?
Me niko ready.
Okay, I'm ready. So today we're in Kang. And we are going to Ukwi.
Okay.
So it's our first day of shoot. Yeah, it's our first day of shoot. Ukwi is 300 kilometers from here, in the very interior.
Where?
Hey, but come. Let me show you something. Come on. You see that?
You are in the Kalahari Desert. Please save water.
Exactly.
Yes, we are right in the middle of the Kalahari Desert. And this is where our story for today starts. Before we set off, let me start from where I stopped last week. What is the staple food in Botswana? Pap. It acts as a base for many dishes. It is inexpensive and also quite filling. My fellow Kenyans, let's not start overthinking. Pap is nothing but soft ugali. Ukwi is a very remote village near the Botswana-Namibia border. Ukwi is in Kalahari district and Hukunsi sub-district. We're going to meet the Bushman tribe. It's gonna be a tough one today. A total of 600 kilometers to and from our destination. More than half of the journey on gravel. But who doesn't love a good challenge? Unlike Kenya, Botswana doesn't have small food kiosks strewn everywhere. So yesterday evening, we visited Choppies for some supplies and are ready for this. Before we go too far, meet Russian. He too is from Botswana Red Cross and we're in his territory. He is now our host. It is still dark. Curfew just ended 2 hours ago at 4 a.m. And as the light starts setting in, you can start seeing the large tracts of unexplored land. Oh dear Lord, the things we do to give you a clean picture. Just arriving in Hukunsi now. In front of us is a Kombi, Botswana's widely used form of transport. How do you know that it is actually a Kombi? Blue plates. All public transport vehicles, including taxis, have these. They are also easily recognizable by the display of their routes at the front. Last week I promised to tell you about water pans. Incidentally, almost every city, town, village in Botswana is around a water pan. And the reason, as we came to find out, is simple.
People move to close water, so that also they can
use the water.
Use
or
the water
the distance of travel.
And also kill animals.
Okay.
For consumption.
Okay.
So we took a stop at the water pan in Hukunsi to catch a breath. Even got a moment to show our hosts a few clips of our previous series, Inside Somaliland, and to tell them how excited I was to document the same for Botswana. So this is where we leave all the smooth roads we have been enjoying and get onto gravel for the real adventure. True to my prediction, adventure really starts. This is surely a cattle country and Halagadi has its fair share of the same. And this goes on and on and on for most of the journey till our next stop. Next stop, a a salt processing plant. This project, we learn, is a lifeline for the community around. This by offering employment. We have been on the road for a while now. Ukhui is clearly not near. The stops too have usurped our energies. The conversations are slowly dying. Then, just like a thief in the night, here is Ukhui. Sigh, at last. First order of business, pay a courtesy call to the village elder. Remember, we are here on a humanitarian mission. He shares a few words of wisdom.
Lina lami ke kaskometsa ping. Khosi ya motsono wa ukhuo. O santse o le o tlhaelelwang ke ditlamelo. Jaaka ha ne le re tletse ka dijo.
My colleague Calvin's here is being funny, right? Did he even understand a thing? Wait a minute. If you've watched a lot of Southern African movies and programs, you must have seen these interesting outfits. The Botswana Red Cross has been instrumental in distributing foodstuff to disadvantaged families in this village. This follows the ravages of drought. Okay, a little history here. Why exactly is this community referred to as Bushmen? The term Bushman came from the Dutch term Bosjesman, which meant bandit or outlaw. This term was given to the San during their long battle against the colonialists. The San interpreted this as a proud and respected reference to their brave fight for freedom from domination and colonization. Oh, the love in this village. And if you're wondering why donkeys have their front legs tied, this helps them not to wander off. They are gracious enough to demonstrate to us just how this is done. How do you cool off on a hot afternoon? A good swing, right? Wonderful moments spent in Ukhui village. Next week,
It's indeed a mouth-watering story. Good job, Gidref Mbogua, Kibisi Mulanda and Calvin Gole for that beautiful, breathtaking story. It's now time for business news. CICA Group, Standard Chartered Bank and the National Bank of Kenya each scooped 3 awards at this year's International Business Magazine Awards. The insurance and investment firm emerged as the best general insurance, life insurance and asset management company in Kenya in 2021. National Bank of Kenya was named the most innovative SME bank, best banking customer service and best Islamic bank in Kenya. Standard Chartered similarly was also recognized as the best consumer digital bank, best corporate bank and best in corporate governance.